Hey friends, welcome back to the shop. If you've been a regular follower of ours, you know that we have done a couple of dash cam installs in a couple of our different vehicles. Well, this episode is going to be another dash cam installed, however, different. Not only is the product different, but it's also considerably less expensive. And I mean a third less expensive. So this could be a great option for those that are very budget-minded, looking for some level of protection, better than nothing, without having to spend a lot of money on it, and also without taking up more space on the windshield than what you already have with your current mirror. So what we're installing today is the Pelsee P12 Pro Max Dashcam mirror. And we're installing it in this 2019 Kia Sorento. This is our son's SUV, getting ready to come back from deployment. So this is going to be a welcome home gift for him. Before we jump into the unboxing and install, we do want to give a quick shout out to Pelsee for supporting our channel, for providing this dashcam mirror for us to install, test, and review for each of you. So thank you very, very much for the support. All right, first up, packaging. Everything looks good, nice and solid. Sleeve over the regular box. It's a good sturdy box, so it's tight. All right, we've got our mirror with our clips, dash cam on the back. Next is our rear view camera and wiring. And we have our GPS. We have our power cable. Plugs into a regular 12-volt source, accessory plug, cigarette lighter. One thing that I do like about this is that you actually don't lose the functionality of that because of the USB plug on the back of it. So that's good. Last bag here is going to have the finer things that we need. One is user manual, and of course little support card on how to reach them for support, also important. I like that they add the trim removal tool, the bands that you actually use to secure the mirror to your stock OEM rear view mirror. Then you have two extras, which is great. You have a microfiber cleaning cloth. You have a double-sided tape that we're going to end up using for the rear view mirror. And then you have the micro SD card. I love that this is also included. You don't have to purchase anything else in order to be able to install this dash cam. All right, so let's get into the fun part of installing it all. With dash cam installs, I like starting there in the rear camera area because it does take the most time of routing the wire all the way from the back to the front. With this camera, it's going to take a little bit longer for you to just kind of figure out where your placement is if you are keeping it inside the vehicle. Now, the rear camera itself comes with this bracket, so you could typically use this as a backup camera if you don't already have one. So it can be a dual purpose camera backup as well as a rear dash cam. This red wire as a part of this kit actually connects up to your reverse to trigger this camera coming on. We don't need that. we already have an OEM backup camera on this SUV that is on the head unit, so we're not going to use that piece of the functionality. So this is going to stay on the inside, and now I need to figure out where we were going to end up placing this for the best view and to be able to utilize this bracket without having to screw anything in. Since there's no swivel on this camera, it also gives it a little bit more of a challenge on placement. You just can't stick it to the rear window as you typically would with other rear dash cam cameras. So I'll show you where we're going to end up going, and fingers crossed it'll actually work the way I think it's going to work. Alright, we're going to stick it right here to this elevated area, so it'll go right over the rear wiper. We'll pull this panel off and actually run around that panel up around this way. We'll pull these panels off here, run the cable around, run it down through the wire channel into the headliner. Let's get the fun started. Well, it sounded like a good plan, but it did not work out. I'm not 100% surprised because of this plastic material is incredibly difficult to get any double-sided tape or adhesive to stick to it and stay by the way that it is made. But also, in addition to that, the sticky pad that Pelsee provides is not very good. So would love for you guys to actually include like some 3M tape, something that has better adhesive. This is no good. Once you peel off the protective covers, there's no sticky to it at all. So this wouldn't hold anything. So now I'm on a journey to find an alternative mounting point for that camera, even if I have to make something custom like we did our 4Runner. So stay tuned, I'll be right back. So we're going to do a little test with it actually stuck to the window there. This is not going to be permanent wiring, by the way, but I just want to see what it looks like actually on the mirror if the dash cam is stuck directly to the glass that way, because it's looking more down than out. So let's see what that looks like. Alright, so just test purposes here, without putting the mirror up, we've got our front camera on the left side and our rear camera on the right side. It's not bad. It's pointing just more down than down and out like I really prefer. So let me try to do a custom bracket on there to have better, but I mean, worst case scenario, this is where it goes, and at least it still can pick up any type of rear impact. Alright, let's get back to it. Okay, so after experimenting with a couple of locations on this being up against the glass, actually attaching it to the cargo area light and seeing the depth, looking at the quality of it, I decided that I am going to end up just going something with a little bit more custom. Still incredibly easy to be able to do. It's just going to require a couple of additional items of material that I've got here on hand in the shop and that you can easily pick up at any of the big box stores like Home Depot or Lowe's. So let me go ahead and show you exactly what we're going to do and how this is so easy. So this panel right here, we're actually going to end up taking off. We're going to need to take it off anyway if we were mounting to the window in order to be able to run the wire through it. But this right here is what I'm talking about, a little bit custom. So I'm going to use the panel removal tool. You could use the one that came with it or one that you end up having on your own. We're going to pop this cover down. And what I see here is we actually have this nut on this screw. We're going to end up utilizing this. So I did a little sample test where I've got this really thin aluminum. You can bend just like this. I'm going to measure a piece long enough to actually mount onto this, go up, and then bend to mount the camera directly to that. So it won't impact the panel being on there. The camera will be right up against the glass, and it will give us the angle that we're looking for too. Okay, we got our bracket made up. Just need to smooth it out a little bit and then paint it so it actually looks like it was meant to be there. It's looking pretty good so far. All right, while we're waiting on the paint to dry on the bracket, we're gonna go ahead and jump to the front and mount this GPS module. Typically where I like to put it is all the way here in the far corner where it is not obstructing any view. It has a clear line of sight to do what it's supposed to do, and then we could tuck in that cable right behind the A-pillar cover and run it right along the headliner to where the GPS camera will be. So we'll go ahead and get that knocked out really quick now. Now on to the power. So with these Sorentos, you have two different ports up here, and this will work great into this port. However, you know, you've got this door that closes down. It's really nice, keeps it clean. However, for us, it's actually going to hurt us because there's no way to be able to cleanly run that wire without interfering the door. So we're going to do a little more custom work, and we're going to drill a hole right down here in order to run the power wire through. What that's going to require us to do first is actually remove this side panel so we can make sure that there's nothing behind it before we do any drilling. So to pop this panel off, just put your hand right behind here. You'll see that there's two layers, or you'll feel it, and you'll pull out. So your hand will go in between this one and this one here to where you can quickly pull it away, and you'll see where these tabs actually pop in. Well, what I thought was going to be an easy task, by the signs of this, it was not. So I had to take out the whole center console. There is just way too much back behind these outlets where I did not feel comfortable enough drilling blind. So went ahead, did a quick YouTube search, found a great video on how to remove the center console, and then also from here we're going to take out a screw on this side, a screw on the other side. That will allow us to just pull this entire compartment out and see exactly what may be behind those plugs or under the plugs, and allow us to drill directly through it that way. All right, it's never easy to make things look good, but it is worth it. Okay, got the full centerpiece out. Did have to put the car in gear in order to slide it out easily. Now we've got a nice clear blank area exactly where we wanted to go ahead and drill. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of that, and then see if I've got some grommets that will actually give it even a nicer clean look once we've finished. I'm not sure I could have come up with anything cleaner than this. Hole's been drilled, grommet is in, wires pulled through, and I am absolutely in love with how clean this damn thing looks. Okay, now time to put the console back together. Okay, console's all back together. Everything looks good. Now the fun part, doing the matrix underneath the dash and zip tying the cable. Everything underneath there, then we're going to run it up through this channel all the way up, just as we did with the GPS cable. All right, we got our bracket done, ready to go ahead and put the rear camera on, and we are using 3M tape. So this should actually hold it very well on that bracket. Let's make sure this all seats well. Okay. Beautiful. Now we'll pop this back off so we can go ahead and run our wires. Now, as I may have mentioned earlier, this red wire goes to the reverse light power on. Since we're not using this as a backup camera, then I'm going to cut this off. I'll leave some in the event that something gets changed later down the road in regards to a vehicle and we need that, but I'm going to cut most of it off right now so we don't have too much to tuck away. Now, what I'll do from here is actually run this wire down through here, down through here, and then I'm going to use some fishing line wire that I'll feed up from the bottom to actually pull the cable down through. Keeps it clean, doesn't look like anything is zip stripped off where it shouldn't be. This is the way that it's supposed to be done. Now, we're going to pull the weather stripping up. Be very careful. Underneath it is a lot of the black glue here, and it will ruin your headliner, ruin your clothes. Now I have this guide wire here. I've been asked a number of times where I got it from, and honestly I do not know. Somewhere at some point this came into my possession and I've used it for pulling wires through ever since. All right, once we get that fed through, then make sure you put the gaskets back in for the wiring. And of course I need to feed this through this way. Secure the wire so you don't have any rattling in the back. And done. From here, we're going to run this wire right along the panels. Then from there, all the way along, we'll pull out the weather seal for each of the doors and run it right along the edge of the headliner until we get towards the front. These trim tools are also an easy way to be able to just push wires down behind the panels without having to stick your fingers down in there. As you're running your cable along this side, ensure that you don't cross in front of your curtain airbag. Run it all the way down to towards the bottom, and then run it through your A-pillar cover. So that way it's not obstructing the airbag at all. One thing I love about the Kia Sorento, as well as some of the other newer SUVs, is this plastic piece right here. Used to not really be fond of it, but now more electronics that I'm running, I'm actually liking it because of the extra space that you can roll wires up into and then just cover them back up. Before we actually mount it up there, we need to go ahead and take our micro SD card and put it into the slot right here. Now that you got the camera actually installed, let's kind of walk through some of the basic features of this and what it looks like. So here on the screen, you'll see to the left your actual lane and your speed. Then upper right hand corner, the little green icon is your GPS marker. You've got the power, then the SD card, and then microphone, and then on the bottom right hand corner you'll see that there is voice activations for this camera. Here we're showing our front camera view. If we just swipe this way, then we have dual coverage. We have both our front camera and rear camera. And if we, it is not recognized in my left hand. Here we've got just the rear camera. And with this, swipe again, we're back to the front. If you go up and down, then it will show the full view of the camera itself. Now, in order to access some of the other settings, what we have to do is we have to tap on the screen and we have to stop the recording. Then from
Audio
here,
recording enabled.
From here, then you can hit your settings button and you'll see the video resolution, your loop recording, sound recording, Wi-Fi. I'll go back to the Wi-Fi here in a moment. Then all of these different features, you can set the sensitivity for the collision detection, volume, time zones, everything. We go back here, all of the recordings actually have
recording enabled.
A timestamp of the GPS coordinates as well as the time, date, and the speed that you are traveling. For those wondering, all right, what if I don't like it to be on and I just want to have the regular rear view mirror showing just as if I had my OEM mirror there? Well, this screen will actually go dark after a period of time, and it's a short period of time, so it goes back to just being a functional mirror. But if you're not wanting to wait for that, then up in the bottom center of the mirror dash cam, there is a button there that will turn the screen off and you are back to your rear view mirror. Now there are two ways to access your files from the dash cam. The first is through the Pelsee app, and that Pelsee app actually connects to the dash cam through Wi-Fi that you will set up through the adding the camera settings. Now that app will only allow you to view the files, the pictures, the videos that are currently on the camera. It will not allow you to download those particular files. The second way to access those files is actually through a program that you're going to download from the Pelsee.com website. Now your registration number is going to be the serial number from this camera, and in that program, it's good for both Windows and Mac, it will allow you to then view everything, view the GPS routes, all of that information there through that program. Now, without that program, you will not be able to view the files that are on the camera. It is a format that you're just not going to be able to utilize anything else. So you'll have to actually use that program to download those files. In that program, though, it will allow you to convert them over to MP4, and it's very quick and simple. That program is free through Pelsee using your serial number on the camera itself. All right, installation is done. Let's go for a test drive and actually get some footage from this camera and see how it does on the roads. All right, here's the part of the episode that many of you are interested in, and that is our final review and recommendation on the Pelsee Dashcam mirror. And would I recommend it? Short answer would be yes, but with two exceptions. And the reason for those two exceptions is based on actual design of that mirror. So I drove the Kia Sorento around for a couple of days and even took it on a road trip from Ohio to Louisiana. And if you watch the full install, you'll recall the part on the windshield that covers up the wires that I really liked. Well, at that point in time, I didn't realize on how that was going to backfire on me. So the design of the mirror has those plugs on top of the mirror. If you have a large wire channel on your windshield, as the Sorento does, those plugs on the top will prevent you from angling the mirror up high enough to where you could actually use it as a rear view mirror. And that is what I could not foresee ahead of time until it was installed and everything was back in its place. But once I started using it, then I realized that it just was not going to work for the Sorento. If it was another vehicle that did not have that large wire channel on the windshield, you'll have no problems of being able to use it as it's intended. A backup camera or a dash cam or a regular standard rear view mirror. The second piece that I feel is a caveat on whether it's going to end up working in your vehicle. My son has a non-OEM louder audio system, and because we are using that rear view camera inside the vehicle, it would not stay level. That bracket that's on there and the cameras on there is held on by two tiny screws, and whenever the music is playing, the camera just falls. It no longer sits up like it's supposed to. Even if the camera was on the trunk on the outside where you're using it as a backup camera or a dash cam, I personally feel that over time the vibrations of driving will impact it and do the exact same thing, that it would not stay level. I would love for Pelsee to be able to put it on a stationary camera base, no screws, where everything is one solid unit like other dash cams, where it's held on by some incredibly strong adhesive, and then it would work fantastic on the inside, even if you had multiple attachment options based on how you are going to install it. So if you have a vehicle that doesn't have aftermarket loud stereo system, you're not going to have any problem using that bracket on the inside of your vehicle over time. It'll work just great for you. So outside of those two pieces, those two caveats on my recommendation, I would highly recommend the camera to anyone that doesn't fall into those two categories. It's great from a budget standpoint. The footage is great for that price point. It is certainly something that will give you a peace of mind in the event that there is an incident where you need no fault proof, and this would certainly provide that to you. So hopefully this install video helps you. Hopefully this final review helps you. I know Pelsee, the brand, is going to be looking at this particular video, so I'm hoping that you take that feedback, go back with the designers, and look to see how you can end up modifying that in future editions to really be able to allow the application in any vehicle, regardless of installation or regardless of what is standard on those vehicle windshields and rear view mirrors. So let us know your thoughts if you've been considering this particular camera or you already have it installed and you have feedback, even if it is different. Love to be able to hear from you. But until next episode, we certainly appreciate you following along. Thanks once again to Pelsee for providing this dash cam mirror for us to install and try out. And we hope you stay safe, and we'll see you again next time. Take care.